uncle and the gasoline station owner in the Philippines was trying to boost his business, so he decided to put up a sign that would catch everyone's attention. He probably hung up the sign that read, "Free sex with fill-up satisfaction guaranteed." Soon enough, a car pulled up. The customer said, "I want a fill-up and a free sex." The owner replied, "Sure thing. Pick a number between 1 and 10. If you guess it correctly, you get your free sex." The customer thought for a moment and confidently said, 10. The owner shook his head and said, "Sorry, the number was 3. Better luck next time." A few days later, the same customer returned with his friends, all eager to try their luck. The owner welcomed them and said, "All right, pick up a number between 1 and 10 and let's see if you can win your free sex." The first friend guessed 7, the second guessed 4, and the third guessed 9, but none of them were right. The owner said, "Sorry guys, the number was 1 this time." As they drove away disappointed, one friend turned to the other and said, "I don't think anyone ever wins that free sex." The customer replied, "No mate, it is true and for real. I know because my wife told me she won it 2 times last week." Two Aussies were out hunting in the outback and come upon a huge hole in the ground. They approached it and were amazed at its size. The first said, "Wow, that's some hole. I can't even see the bottom. I wonder how deep it is." The second said, "There's an old gearbox over there. Let's throw it and see how long it takes to hit bottom." So they picked up the gearbox, carried it over to the hole, counted 1, 2, 3, and have it in. As they were standing there looking over the edge of the hole, a goat came crashing through the underbrush, ran up the hole and without hesitation jumped in head first. While they were standing there staring at each other in amazement, they peered into the hole trying to figure out what that was all about. Just then an old farmer ran up to them. "You fellers didn't happen to see my goat?" The first hunted said, "Funny you should ask. We were just standing here a minute ago, and a goat come running out of the bushes doing about 100 miles an hour and jumped head first into this hole." The old farmer said, "Nah, that's impossible. I had him tied up to a gearbox."
A man and his 8-year-old son take a taxi ride. They see some prostitutes on the sidewalk. The child asks, "What are the ladies doing?" The father answers, "They are waiting for their husbands who are at work." But the taxi driver interrupts, "No, little guy, your father tells bullshit. The ladies you've seen are whores." "Dad, what are the whores?" asks the child. "It is ladies with lots of husbands. But then she has lots of children." "And what do they do with the children?" The father then says with a smile, "They make taxi drivers."
Wife said to her husband, "I have a bag full of used clothing I'd like to donate." Husband said, "Why not just throw it in the trash? That's much easier." Wife said, "But there are poor starving people who can really use all these clothes." Husband said, "Honey, anyone who fits in your clothing is not starving." Husband is recovering from a head injury now. Bob forgot his wedding anniversary. His wife was mad. She told him, "Tomorrow morning, I expect to find a gift in a driveway that goes from 0 to 200 in 6 seconds, and it better be there." The next morning, she saw a big gift wrap box in their driveway. She rushed out and opened it and found a brand new bathroom scale. Bob has been missing since Friday.
A man says to his doctor, "My girlfriend is pregnant but I always use protection. How come it's possible?" Doctor replied, "Let me tell you a story. There was once a hunter who always carries a gun wherever he goes. One day, he took his umbrella instead of his gun and went out. A lion suddenly jumped in front of him. In order to scare the lion, the hunter used the umbrella like a gun and shot the lion. The lion died. The man replied loudly, "Nonsense. Someone else must have shot the lion." Doctor, glad you understood the story. A man walks into a bar, notices a very large jar on the counter and sees that it's filled to the brim with $10 bills. He guesses there must be at least $10,000 in it. He approaches the bartender and asks, "What's with the money in the jar?" Well, you pay $10, and if you pass 3 tests, you get all the money in the jar and the keys to a brand new Lexus. The man certainly isn't going to pass this up, so he asks, what are the 3 tests? You gotta pay first, says the bartender, those are the rules. So, after thinking it over a while, the man gives the bartender $10 which he stuffs into the jar. Okay, says the bartender, here's what you need to do. First, you have to drink a whole quart of tequila, in 60 seconds or less, and you can't make a face while doing it. Second, there's a pit bull chained in the back with a bad tooth. You have to remove that tooth with your bare hands. Third, there's a 90-year-old lady upstairs who's never had sex. You have to take care of that problem. The man is stunned. I know I paid my $10, but I'm not an idiot. I won't do it. You'd have to be nuts to drink a quart of tequila and then do all those other things. Your call, says the bartender, but your money stays where it is. As time goes on, the man has a few more drinks and finally says, where's the damn tequila? He grabs the bottle with both hands and drinks it as fast as he can. Tears stream down both cheeks, but he doesn't make a face, and he drinks it in 58 seconds. Next, he staggers out the back door where he sees the pit bull chained to a pole. Soon, the people inside the bar hear loud growling, screaming, and sounds of a terrible fight, then nothing but silence. Just when they think that the man surely must be dead, he staggers back into the bar. His clothes are ripped to shreds and he's bleeding from bites and gashes all over his body. He drunkenly says, now, where's that old woman with the bad tooth?
Back when I was in school, I was really bad in mathematics. During exams, I get between 2% and 8%. The results used to be announced in order. This is from the lowest to the highest marks, so I would always be the first or second to be called out and punished. One day the maths teacher announced the results and my name was not among the first to be called out. The teacher got to 30%, 40%, 50%, 60% and 70%. Still my paper had not been called out. Everyone kept looking and asking, Catherine, what's up? How did you pass this exam? I just keep on smiling. By the time the teacher got to 80%, I was already grinning in excitement. When she got to 90%, he had only one paper remaining. I then asked myself, could I have 90% in maths? I was very anxious and happy now. It was obvious my dreams and prayers have been answered. The whole class was amazed as everyone kept looking at me. It was unbelievable. Finally the teacher looked up and said, one idiot did not write his name on the paper and she scored 0%. I just fainted.
I had a blind date last night with a girl I met on a dating app. The problem was that she had no profile pic, but neither did I, and I consider myself quite handsome, but I was concerned. What do I do? If she's really ugly, really ugly, and I'll be stuck with her all night. Well, as it turns out there's an app for that. It's called Mum. Are you okay? It schedules your phone to ring just after you meet your date. If you like him or her, you ignore the call. If you want to cut short the date, you answer with Mum. What's the matter? Are you okay? The description said it works every time. So I knocked on the girl's door. Turns out I needn't have worried, she was gorgeous. My eyes were in a realm of happiness. I couldn't get over how attractive she was. Stunning beauty and supple curves. Just as I was about to speak to her, her phone rang. She answered it and said, Mum, what's the matter? Are you okay?
Dad, there is something my boyfriend said to me, and I do not understand it. He said that I have a beautiful chassis, lovely airbags and a fantastic bumper.
Tell your boyfriend that if he opens your bonnet and tries to check your oil with his dipstick, I will tighten his nuts so hard that his headlights will pop out and he will start leaking from his exhaust pipe.
Dad, there is
Wife drew her husband's attention to the couple next door and said, do you see that couple? How devoted they are. He kisses her every time they meet. Why don't you do that? The husband replied, I would love to, but I don't know her well enough. The husband has been missing since then.
Why did the blonde get excited after finishing a jigsaw puzzle in 6 months? Because the box said 2 to 4 years. Why did the blonde bring a ladder to the bar? She heard the drinks were on the house. A blonde went to a pet store and asked for a parrot. The salesperson showed her a beautiful parrot and said, "This one can recite the entire Bible." Impressed, the blonde asked, "What about this one?" The salesperson showed her another parrot and said, "This one can recite the entire Constitution." The blonde then asked, "What about this one?" The salesperson replied, "That one can do basic math." The blonde looked puzzled and asked, "Really? How much is 2 plus 2? The parrot replied, 4. The blonde rolled her eyes and said, "That's not very impressive, but it's a start."